Okay, I'm going to go ahead with the assigned problems, and then based on the level of difficulty, we'll do the optional in one video. So the practice problem 3.5, we're in millimeters. Origin is located at the center and at the back. Looking at our isometric view, we'll be in the front for this for a starting sketch. And we'll do this in a couple sketches just to kind of get into that. You don't have to do everything in one sketch thing. So I do want to reinforce the sketch pattern versus the feature pattern. And so lines, circles, center lines, rectangles, sketch patterns, extrude boss. On the geometry, nothing too crazy. We will probably go ahead with the base circle. I do like to utilize the base circles, but there isn't a like a dedicated construction circle tool. So we'll get into our metric part. And open up a sketch on the front plane. And I'm using a slightly different screen resolution to try this out. So we'll see how visible this is. So front plane, open up the sketch, and so I have collapsed my command manager. So if it ever goes to the tabs, click on one of the tabs, and then hit the push pin, and that will bring it back. And we're going to go with a circle. Make sure that you're getting coincident to the origin, and another circle at the center. We'll go ahead and put those two in. Jumping into the smart dimension, we're going to be at 115, so that jumped to linear dimension. It doesn't hurt anything, doesn't really help anything, so I'll leave it for now. And the center hole goes to, get back over to my screen, 32. Another one of those hiding in plain sight things. All right, so we're going to extrude this out to 15. All right, and again, watch for these boxes to highlight in blue. We want those ready to type, ready to enter the data. If for some reason that's cleared, or if your select contours is set up a little bit weird, we'll go ahead and make sure to select in those boxes. All right, so the three holes, we'll open up the sketch, and to create a base circle is just a circle, but then we're going to come over to the property manager and switch it to for construction. That's going to give it the dash dash look for the construction line, or construction circle in this case. So we have 80 for our diameter. We'll place that and accept the dimension. And then if we are clocking these, we do want to pay attention to the index or the position of these holes. So the first one goes down. If we do the right mouse button, we can go smart dimension, but we can always go back to a smart dimension on the command manager, whichever one makes more sense. So 15. And then we're going to go into the pattern. So want to escape out of the dimension. I like to pre-select. I think the pre-select is a little bit easier. And so highlighting the geometry that you want to put into the circular sketch pattern, and then picking it. All right, so the origin, we want to make that 3. And we shouldn't have to dimension the radius, but I'm kind of counting on that. Well, all right, it did it. If this didn't go fully defined, previous versions had issues. I would drag the center point away from the base circle, drag it right back, and that would apply the center, the coincidence, and then do it the same thing to the other circle, just to make sure that that geometry is attached to your base circle. We want to go to up to next or through all, whichever. And I'm going to go back to the front view, so that gives the circles. And then we can go into the sketch. And the first rectangle is vertical, so let's go that way. And I want the full square, full rectangle, but I do want the top line to be tangent. All right, because that's going to leave. Now, on the off chance that it generates 0 thickness, we might have to overrun that or make it a little bit bigger. For our relation then, let's right click and select midpoint, and then control select the origin, and that's going to be vertical. Then we can go into the smart dimension, go to 8, and a width of 10. That looks pretty small compared to theirs, but maybe not. Can't always go on the visuals. All right, so this one I'm going to do is a feature pattern. If you go ahead and have the circular pattern ready, we would do the same thing as the circles. But for comparison, we want to go into the feature, make our cut, and then we can stay with up to next. And at that point, the feature is still highlighted, so let's see if we can go directly into the circular pattern. The direction then will be our axis of one of the circles. We could do the outer, the inner, and I mentioned before that if none of those are convenient, then we'll go to our display and highlight the temporary axes, which will also give us something to work from. All right, the 3, and we pretty much have our geometry. So at this point, we need to get back to where we can see the value 131,122. So in our evaluate, we'll go into the mass properties, 132 and 220. Okay, so don't know if that is because of the way that I did the 8mm, but everything looks okay. I mean, the patterns, the geometry, so we're close, off by about 100. So running par for the course. All right, so don't forget to save this, and we'll wrap up this video here.